We have a special holiday treat for you here. So, man, did you make a great move joining us in the trenches. Brought to you by First Star Logistics. You're in our studios at First Star Logistics. And so is Jimmy Burrow. Are you kidding me? Jimmy Burrow, great player himself, great coach himself. And, man, is he the dad of a great quarterback. We talked to him about that. We talked to him about the Cleveland Browns game, what he saw, not only as a dad, but as a football coach. We talked to him about the upcoming opponent. And boy, it's going to be a challenge. I mean, the Denver Broncos, that defensive football team, Coach Vance Joseph, he brings it. He brings every pressure known to man. He'll bring pressure. He'll false pressure. He'll disguise coverages. You know what? Joe Burrow has seen every defense known to man, and he can diagnose it, figure out what to do with it. He is so aware. He sees the entire field. We talked to Jimmy Burrow about all of that and more. You're going to love Jimmy Burrow. Merry Christmas, everybody. A great holiday move by joining us in the trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. We're coming to you from the studio provided by First Star Logistics, and we always appreciate that. And we certainly do always appreciate our very special guest. This man, Jimmy Burrow, a great football player himself, an unbelievable football coach himself. Ask Lou Anarumo. Lou Anarumo says you were something else as a football coach. And also got a son by the name of Joe Burrow. And Jimmy, welcome to the show, my man.
Well, it's good to be here. Who Dey, go Bengals, and we got a good win yesterday. It was fun.
No question about it. All right, so I have to ask you, what's it like to have a son who in 7 straight games has thrown for 250 yards or more, and in 7 straight games has also thrown for 3 touchdowns or more, and he's the only quarterback in NFL history to do it. I mean, think of all the great quarterbacks that have played in the National Football League, and your son is in the record book all by himself in that regard. What's that like?
Well, it's crazy. We're certainly proud of Joe, and credit should go to his teammates too. They're a big part of that. He can't do it without them. I've seen him do things like that really his whole football career, but you just never thought that he could do those type things in the NFL that he was doing in high school and grade school and at LSU. But he seems to keep going.
It is remarkable, and the defense bends as far as they can bend, but they don't break. Von Bell punches it out at the 1-yard line, and Joe says, "All right, we'll go 9 plays, 99 yards." And I mean, 4 plays in a row there during the course of that drive. He's directing it with distinguished ability there. And I mean, they had, let's see if I can find it. Okay, there were 4 snaps in there of 20 yards or more, 2 on offense, 2 on defense consecutively. And they punch it in, a quick pass to T. Higgins. But that's the play. All right, so your son climbs the pocket, and Ted Karras, he kind of hits, they click heels as such. And as he's going to the ground, he shows unbelievable flexibility. He snaps his upper body up and core strength to do that. He snaps it up. He said he saw Higgins kind of as he was climbing the pocket, but as you're going down, to have the awareness to do that and then rifle it. I mean, not just he puts it boom. I mean, on the spot. And I mean the flexibility and the core strength and the athleticism to do something like that. Forget platforms. I mean, he doesn't need platforms. I've never seen a guy do what he does without a platform.
Well, he seems to always have the ability to keep his eyes downfield, even when he's twisting or turning or falling or whatever. And so that allows him to still, as long as his arms are loose, he can still get the ball out and find those open receivers. So yeah, it's fun to watch. I mean, certainly continues to do things that even amazed his mom and dad. So that's always good. It was great that Vaughn got that ball out, because who knows after if we'd have given up a score there, but he kind of set the stage for the whole game with the defense playing well and getting stops and turnovers. So Lou did a good job with the defense yesterday also.
Well, he did. In the last 2 weeks, 9 takeaways, 8 different players involved. You're an outstanding defensive coordinator yourself. I mean, how rewarding is that over a 2-week period, you take it away 9 different times to give the offense more possessions, 8 different guys. I mean, that's the whole team understanding what's going on, right?
Yeah, I mean, you teach and preach turnovers all the time, and once you start getting them, they sometimes seem to go get a lot of them during the course of games. It's kind of what's happening. It's a snowball effect, and people are aware of it. They're looking for opportunities to get the ball out, and I'm sure Lou and his staff have preached that all year, and we used to call it ball awareness. So if the defenders are aware of where that ball is, as far as right arm, left arm, near the sideline, or just hanging out there, then an opportunity to create a turnover, and they're taking advantage of those type things when they see them. It's fun to watch.
Man, I'll tell you, your son and Jamar Chase, and you've seen both of them perform at a high level for a while now, collegiately and professionally. They're not just setting records. It's historic. I mean, the numbers that they're putting up are mind-boggling. It's really – I bet the NFL, there's no way they're not saying, please, Bengals, make the playoffs. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown, that's must-see TV offensively and must listen to on the radio selfishly as well. I mean, they are playing at such a high level, Jimmy. As a defensive coordinator, what do you do? I mean, how do you stop all those weapons?
We always, as a defensive coach, coordinator, stop. The number one thing is stopping the run, and we've been able to get that going somewhat at the start of the game, and that keeps defenses off balance, and so that opens up really all of those receivers, and play action seem to be under center a few more times the last few games. So it just all coordinates together as an offense, and Joe's scrambling ability that opens up things that you just can't practice as a defense. I mean, we see it when we go against Lamar and Mahomes and even Josh Allen is Superman when it comes to scrambling, and that's the worst thing for a defense and a defensive coordinator is those quarterbacks that are not necessarily option type quarterbacks, although those guys could probably run the option, especially Lamar, but just to move and evade the rush and find an open area to either scramble or make a play downfield. It's frustrating for defenders and defensive coaches.
You know, another area that Joe is elite, and I mean as good as I've ever seen, is the hard count. I mean, the way he got that drive started, backed up at the 1 yard line, he yanks them offside with a hard count. Now it's starting at the 6 yard line, and it's 1st and 5 at the 6 yard line, not 1st and 10 at the 1 yard line. That's huge. I mean, that's huge to get a drive started like that. And then the touchdown pass that he and Jamar hooked up on over 30 yards. Boom, he pulls Myles Garrett in the neutral zone, free play. I think the corner thought, geez, he jumped offside. Whatever. I mean, and Joe does a great job, man. He takes that safety and stares him to the middle of the football field and anchor. Boom. I mean, that hard count is a heck of a weapon to have, and boy, does Joe have it.
Yeah, it's another tool in the toolbox for offense, and they do a good job with it. Joe does a good job with the hard count. I know that one felt good, that last one to Jamar, because Jamar is all about scoring touchdowns. So when when he doesn't get one during the course of the game, I know he doesn't feel great about it. So given the opportunity to get one there at the end, even though he had a great game already, he just hadn't gotten one across the goal line. So that was fun to see. A lot of receivers are making plays and tight ends and Chase Brown. So it's a difficult offense to stop for sure.
Jamar Chase, I look at him and he's going for the Triple Crown. I mean, he's leading the league in catches, and he's got over 100. He's closing in on the all-time record, 4 away from T.J. Hushmanzada's record of 112. He's got 108, over 1,500 yards already, 1,510 yards, 16 touchdown passes. I thought the 17 touchdown passes that Carl Pickens had was going to be tough to capture, but yeah, they're getting after it. There's no doubt. The other thing that Jamar Chase is probably leading the NFL in is yards after catch or yards after contact. I mean, this guy is a force. He spins away from people and shows that explosive quickness. And then, talk to the strength coaches, as we've talked about before. I mean, he can power clean and squat as much as the lineman. I look at that guy's lower body. I look at him walking around in shorts, and I'm like, this dude is a freak, man. And to have the explosive speed he has, I mean, it's like I think he's a quad crown. I throw in yards after catch, yards after contact. The old yak, man, he's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I always say that just watching Jamar as an athlete and his athletic ability. I mean, you could play him at safety, you could play him at linebacker. He could probably put on a few pounds and play tight end, and he definitely could be a running back if that's what he set his mind to do. So, yeah, he's really hard to tackle. I'm always telling Joe, hey, just throw it out there to him if the corner's off. It's really hard for him to tackle, and he's very strong. Arm tackles just don't get it, and he seems to kind of toy with those corners out there if you just get him the ball in space. And I'm sure he likes getting his hands on the ball with the ability to run because he's very good at it.
Talked to Joe a little bit earlier on Monday, and he said, yeah, my brothers came into town, spent Thanksgiving with my parents and my brothers, and he said it was great holiday there. Related happy Thanksgiving to the Burrow family. But he said after the game that one of his brothers had already texted him a picture, of the touchdown throw that he had, and he said, I'm about to post that or whatever. But I'm looking at his numbers and I'm thinking, all right, 4,229 yards. Is it impossible to think he could get 5,000? Yeah, you'd have to have maybe 400 one game and 350 another or something like that, but nothing's impossible for Joe Burrow. 39 touchdowns. Is it impossible for him to get to 45? No, I mean, he's averaging, 3 a game. He's gotten 3 a game for the last 7 games. That's not – but those numbers are mind-boggling. 5,000 yards, 45 touchdowns. I mean, are you kidding me? He is – and when I was talking to him, I was saying, yeah, Joe, I mean, man, you're just playing at such a high level. He goes, I just feel real confident out there because, you know what? I don't think they can throw a defense out there that I haven't seen. And that's what that literally sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah, but he certainly can dissect defenses pre-snap, and he would tell you, and it's always good to hear him say that goes into preparation. Not just by him, but the coaches, quarterback coach, coordinator, Zach, and the players and the position coaches. They prepare those guys to see pre-snap reads. And Joe always tells me that the offensive players that surround him are very smart, and that's huge because he could be making a check or something, and 2 guys don't get it, but then the whole play's messed up. But they have a pretty good ability as a group of 11 out there to see what Joe sees and hear what he says, and then make plays. But I mean, there's only so many defenses you can throw out there as a defensive coordinator, and certainly those defenses are executed better with great players, and there are great players in the NFL. But we've been able to see the coverage and make plays, and Joe make checks, and that's how we're able to be so explosive on offense.
I'm like, Jim Schwartz was probably thinking pre-snap, oh man, what's he see? What's he seeing? What's going on? What's going on in his mind right now? I mean, next week the same thing with Coach Joseph. It's it's like,
Yeah.
Okay, do I empty my pressure packages? Do I empty disguise of my coverage? Do I do all of it, or do I say, you know what, man, I better just take it easy now. I better rush 4 and cover with 7, or rush 3, cover with 8. I mean, Joe makes you think about things. I mean, teams actually do something totally different every time they play against them than they had done beforehand, because, as you say, his football IQ and Jamar Chase's football IQ, the two of them, man, those guys they're in a different world. I mean, other guys can maybe see 2 or 3 things. They can see limitless things. I mean, it's unbelievable how they see the field, and they just, man, you mentioned a good word early on, Jimmy, awareness. Their football awareness is A+++.
It is. One of my favorite stories is the defensive coordinator for the Colts is Gus Bradley. He and I coached together at North Dakota State. Very
Right.
good, close personal friend, and one of the best coaches in the NFL. And so we're talking afterwards, he and Joe and I, and the head coach comes over and starts talking to Joe and asks him, hey, we threw a blitz at you that, we didn't even think that you had seen it, and wasn't aware of it, and wanted to know how he saw it. And he said one of the safeties somehow tipped it off. And the coach said, I just don't know how many quarterbacks could have seen that, but I knew you saw something. So he's very aware of what those guys are doing in the back end, that even a subtle movement by a safety or a linebacker or something can sometimes tip him off. And I know last week, I'm talking about their awareness together, Joe and Jamar, there was a scramble. I think he was scrambling to his left. Jamar was inside a receiver, but he's looking back over his inside, and he sees Joe scramble, and Joe throws the ball like an out. I mean, you'd think he would have thrown it inside, but he throws about a 18-yard out and on the run, and Jamar just turned and ran it out, just like, hey, I knew you were going to do that. Before he even did it, Joe had the ball out there, and those things are tough to defend as a corner and as a defense, for sure.
Yeah, you can't put a price tag on something like that. I mean, that's like, oh my gosh, man, that's
yeah. I saw him do it at LSU a lot, and I think you'd have to go back on the records that year. I think Joe might have had 60 touchdown passes that year, but that's a lot of them. And they only played, I guess they played 15 games. So, but they had, they had Justin Jefferson and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Thaddeus Moss, Randy Moss's son. So, the better receivers you have, the better opportunities you have to do what Joe's doing. And he's got great people around him right now.
Man, you averaged 4 touchdowns a game in the SEC. Are you kidding me? For the whole season?
It was fun to watch those games too, for sure.
So, in this matchup, Denver Broncos, a lot on the line, obviously. Bo Nix, son of a football coach, 61 starts in his collegiate career, very experienced. Joe Burrow, son of a football coach. Interesting matchup there.
Yeah, they played against each other when he was at Auburn. I think he was a freshman, and again, you'd have to check back the records, but I think that was the closest game that LSU had in 2019. And Bo Nix was put on a show that day, running the football more so than passing. It was a low-scoring game, and so they played against each other before. We won the game, but it was the closest game that they had all year. It's fun for us too. And Jamar Kane is their defensive line coach at Denver, and he was my graduate assistant when we first got to Ohio University, and I've kind of mentored him over his rise through the ranks to get to the NFL, and he actually babysat Joe a few times back in the day when he was my GA. So he LSU figured that one out back when he coached at LSU a couple of years ago. So we're hoping Joe can give him fits like he probably did when he was a babysitter.
That's great. It is remarkable. You look at this. You mentioned Bo Nix and his ability to run the football. 352 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. He's got a rush of 32 yards. So yeah, he's definitely a weapon in that regard. He's 22 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 2-to-1 ratio is pretty good. Throwing the 4 rushing touchdowns, responsible for 26 with only 11 turnovers there. That's pretty good. He's put the ball on the ground a couple of times, but he hasn't lost a fumble. So he's doing what they want him to do. I mean, there's no way that that Coach Sean Payton, hasn't said to him, "Look, do not put the ball in jeopardy." So that's the one thing that I do not want you to do. Make sure that you do not put the ball in jeopardy and hurt your teammates in that regard.
Well, Coach Payton's definitely knows what he's looking for in a quarterback after having Drew Brees all those years, and so I think some people were a little surprised when they picked Bo Nix as high as they did, but I would bet that Coach Payton had a really good idea that that's who he was looking for. He was Coach Payton's type quarterback. Some Drew Brees instincts probably in the passing game, and he had the tight end that was a Wildcat guy there at New Orleans too. And again, Bo Nix, I think, has got some decent size and can run. So it's kind of a perfect match for those two. And as we said, dual threat quarterbacks. And even though Joe, again, there's not plays designed from the run, I think everybody agreed Joe's a dual threat quarterback. And Bo Nix certainly fits that bill also. And I haven't watched him enough offensively, but I know in college he could run quarterback power and those type things. So they're probably got that incorporated in the Denver's game plan too during the season.
I can remember thinking back to that 47-yard scoot for a touchdown. Boom, up the field. I mean, I'm like, hey, people are underestimating the wheels on this guy. I mean, he is he is a hell of an athlete. And you know what? We talked about this before. I'm glad to see his commitment to the strength and conditioning, the flexibility, all of that is paying off. I mean, the plays that he's making, it's a tribute to not only God blessed your son with unbelievable abilities physically, but he is saying, I'm going to try to do everything I possibly can with them. He's not, I'll take it for granted. I don't have to, I'm not going to work. What an example he is for his teammates, man. It's unreal.
Well, that's what he loves to do is practice football and watch film. And, it's kind of crazy. That's there's really nothing of the professional football that he doesn't like. He's mentioned the privacy factor a little, but just the everyday interaction with coaches and even staff members and teammates that's what he loves to do. He's always loved to do. I mean, we never, growing up in any sport, did I ever see him dread practice. It was just one of those things that he loved to do. And then like this past off season, he tweaked some of the things that he'd been doing nutrition wise and strength and conditioning wise, and even allowed him a little more time here and there to relax. So it all added up to him feeling good going into the season. And if he can move around and scramble and do the things that he's doing during the course of the year, then he's always going to be kind of tough to handle.
Denver, 51 quarterback sacks in 15 games. It's number 1 in the NFL. They're number 3 in sack per pass attempt. Vance Joseph does a great job of pressure packages, false pressures. I mean, all of that kind of stuff. But he hadn't seen a quarterback like Joe Burrow yet. I mean, it's I'm really anxiously awaiting. I mean, you'd love some of these numbers, Jimmy. I don't know if you've followed what Denver's doing, but I mean, they're top 10 in just about every category. They're 4th in points allowed. They're 5th in rushing yards allowed. They're 3rd in rushing yards per attempt. They're 2nd in yards per play allowed. They're 8th in overall net yards. I mean, but like I said, 4th in points allowed. And that's what it's all about. You got the Bengals are number 6 in points scored. They're number 4 in points allowed. Can't wait for this matchup, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun football.
Well, as you know, Joe likes challenges. So this is a big challenge. Just everything that's riding on each game from here on out, and especially to play the Broncos, who were trying to chase down for that wild card spot. And we had a game, I think it was a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, where we went out there and we were able to win, but it was very tough on our offense, on Joe, and defense played great, and we got a win. But this time of year, anything can happen. I'm sure Zach will have them prepared on both sides of the ball. As I said, Lou's he does a good job getting those guys ready. And I know sometimes during the course of the year, the numbers kind of jump out at you that we've given up some yards and points. But Lou is one of the best defensive coordinators in the National Football League. And that's not just me saying it, because I've been a friend of his for a long time. It's kind of common knowledge in the NFL from the people that I visit with. So he'll have them ready, and the offense will be ready. And if we could get the crowd into it, I think it's a 4:30 game.
Yep.
Kind of a holiday weekend, and it could be a great scene out there at the Paycor Stadium with the Bengal fans.
Hear that, sir. Finally, back on the pressure thing, 51 quarterback sacks. Benito has 11 and a half of them. They had not had a double-digit sack guy since 2018. And here he is with 11 and a half with a couple of games to go. 5 different players have 5 or more sacks. So, like I said, Joseph, his pressure packages, everybody comes from everywhere. I mean, he's everybody joins the party in that regard. So if I'm an offensive lineman playing in front of your son, here's what I'm doing on a short week, even though it's a holiday week. I'm loading my computer up. When I'm at home with my family, I'm going to take some time. I'm going to look at these pressure packages. I'm going to get a group chat together or whatever, and I'm going to say, boys, we got to tighten it up. We got to protect Joe. They're going to bring him from everywhere. Let's get after it. We know it's a short week. We have to rest our bodies. Zach's great about that, letting the guys recover and rebound and all that. But, man, take it easy on the body, but tax the brain, man, up front. Make sure you got your rules in place, pick everything up, because this is a big game. And
the quarterback and the center are, really critical when you're facing that type of blitz package, because they're identifying the middle linebacker and where the blitz is coming from and which way the line is sliding. And Ted Karras does a great job. He's very smart. Joe loves him. And, if you can identify those things pre-snap, certainly, and not be just surprised by it, then, you're going to get beat every now and then, just one-on-one. But the recognition of pre-snap reads of what they're going to do is critical, and we're really good at it, and they're really good at disguising and getting those sacks. So it'll be a chess match for sure.
Absolutely, chess match at the highest level. And man, I can't wait. It's right between Christmas and New Year's. What a great 4:30, as you mentioned, on Saturday, right between the holidays. Well, Merry Christmas to you and Robin. And all I want to say on behalf of the city of Cincinnati, thank you for giving us the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. I'm not kidding you. This guy is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen play. I mean, the way he can do it mentally and physically, he's one of one. He's second to none, man. Unbelievable.
I appreciate you, those kind words. I mean, Joe loves playing for the Bengals, and he loves Cincinnati and the fans, and so do I. So does Robin, and we're fortunate and blessed to be a part of the Bengals in this great city. So, Merry Christmas to all the Cincinnati fans, and to you, Dave, and your family, and let's get ready to roll on Saturday.
Love it, Jimmy. Oh, real quick, right. Tell us about the foundation. What's up?
Okay. Yeah,
foundation.
JoeBurrow.org. We don't have events just specifically going on, but we do deliver food to a lot of different places in Cincinnati and Baton Rouge, and over in the Athens area. Amy Floyd, if you get on the website, she's our executive director. She's the superstar of the foundation because she does such a great job, and the ability to go on there and donate and just see what we got going, and the opportunities to either volunteer or make a financial donation. We'd appreciate it. There's a lot of needy food insecurity in a lot of needy people around the area of Cincinnati during this time of year. We try to get to as many as we can with the foundation, and then mental health. That's always an issue during the holidays. So, we got some things going with those things too. So get on JoeBurrow.org and take a look, and anything you can do, we'd appreciate it to help. We say if you donate money, then you're a part of Joe Burrow's team, and that's the Joe Burrow Foundation. So thanks for allowing me to do that, Dave.
Okay. Was she responsible for the samurai swords that Joe got the alignment? Did she find those bad boys?
No, but I'm glad he nixed the gun idea, Yeah. So that would have been something if he bought them all guns. But that's good that we got hunters on the team. But samurai swords, they seem to think those were cool. I saw Joe's yesterday, and probably not my cup of tea to go buy a samurai sword, but Joe liked it, and the linemen like it, and that's all that matters.
I'm telling you, there's nobody else in the world that's getting a samurai sword
that's right.
for Christmas other than the Bengals offensive line.
And I don't know where you'd find it, ever how many there were. I didn't know that many even existed, but he has some good sources to help him find those things. So he was happy.
He's something else. He really is. I mean, a man of many talents, extraordinary. Can't thank you enough again.
All right, Dave.
Enjoy the holidays, and appreciate you, sir.
See you later. All right, thanks.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realized self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.